With over 43 million borrowers owing collectively over $1.6 trillion, student debt is a massive weight on the finances of millions of households in America. During his presidential campaign, Joe Biden vowed to provide relief, pledging to cancel a minimum of $10,000 per borrower. But here we are, September 2023, and broad student loan forgiveness still hasn't truly materialized. In this episode, we'll break down the current status of Biden's debt cancellation proposals and the obstacles that have delayed this implementation. We'll also look at the looming deadlines borrowers face and what may lie ahead in the ongoing push for student loan reform. Major questions remain about whether Biden's pledge will ever become a reality. Many of you are probably thinking the same thing. With the first payment since 2020 just around the corner, time is running out to provide meaningful solutions. Stick with us today as we dive into the uncertainty surrounding student loan forgiveness and the bleak outlook many borrowers still face in today's economy. It's clear the battle over debt relief when it comes to student loans isn't over. Let's jump in.
Welcome to the Financial Mirror. Where future success is reflected in our knowledge of fixing the one thing we can control, ourselves.
Welcome to the Financial Mirror, and thanks for joining me today as we continue to work to improve the one thing that we can control, ourselves. Here at the Financial Mirror, it is not about the numbers and spreadsheets alone, but about transforming and educating you on money so you can make smart financial decisions. If this is the first time you're joining in, don't forget to hit subscribe on YouTube to be notified of all the new episodes as they release. If you are listening to this on a podcast platform of your choice, thank you. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast. If you're on Apple or Spotify, leave that 5-star review and a written comment just to tell others how much you're learning and enjoying the podcast in a written comment. Both of those go a long way in getting this information out to more listeners to just help them improve their personal finances. Today is all about student loan forgiveness, and I'm here to tell you that as you can see from the confusion of my look in the thumbnail, this is a tough one. This is an interesting conversation because, let's be honest, debt is hard. Student loans are no different. Debt is difficult. It is a struggle. It is a burden. It can absolutely just tear apart relationships, tear apart families, tear apart friendships, and truly be a burden on so many lives out there. Debt is just difficult. It's difficult no matter how you look at it. It's just a difficult topic. But student loans eat away, and student loans are we're going to talk about this in the stats, but student loans eat away at people's income, and it truly restricts their budgets, right? Like debt is out there and in large quantities. But the thing is that student loans are a little different. And I'm going to say that student loans are a little different. And the reason is that if you run up a credit card on buying like all these like miscellaneous items, well, I can look at you and say, this is the fruit of your labor. You went out and ran up the credit card. Now you kind of got to pay the consequences, and that's in the form of debt. Student loans are a little different in that there is a promise at the other end of that student loan is that I'm going to take on this student loan and I'm going to have one leg up in my career choice, right? I'm going to have a leg up in how much money I'm going to make. I'm going to have a leg up in the job market. When I get out there, I'm going to start a little bit higher than had I not received that college education. But what we're yet walking away with is possibly a leg up, right? But we're also walking with an average of $30,000 in debt on top of that. So you can see where this one's a little different, right? Because you took it on with the anticipation that it's a mindset thing. You take it on with the anticipation that I'm going to get this degree. I'm going to have a leg up in the job market. I'm going to go out and get a job, and I'm going to make more than had I not done that, right? And I'm going to be able to pay these off fairly quickly. I'm going to be able to move on with my life fairly quickly. And that's not always the case. At the beginning of COVID, if we jump back to, I think it was March 2020, that's when people's lives kind of changed, right? Student loan payments were paused. And over the last few years, they've stayed paused. And that's where I now see a problem. I see a huge problem that we're facing. And I'm just here to tell you that I can see where people are just getting they're starting to sweat bullets. They're getting a little antsy, right? Because think about over the past 3 years of payments being paused, how much do you think, and maybe this is you, how much do you think that people's lives have changed? How they spend money has changed. The way their budget looks today versus 3 years ago has changed. So what I'm meaning by that is the fact that people have replaced the cost that they were paying for their student loans. They've replaced that with something else, more than likely. Now, many people out there, including some of the clients that I've worked with, we really focused on taking advantage of the student loan pause, right? Because there was no interest accruing. We were able to help pay down some of those large $100,000, $200,000 student loan debts because no interest was accruing. Pure principal, baby, all the way straight through. If you were paying on it, you made tremendous progress. Now, I'm not here to bash you and say, well, if you didn't do that you were wrong. But what I am here to say is that the last 3 years, there is a chance that many people out there truly banked on some type of student loan relief, right? Because that's what the Biden administration was putting out there, that there was going to be some type of student loan relief. And here we are 3 years later, and we've seen nothing, right? We've seen nothing. And many people's budgets have changed. They've taken on, if they were paying $500 a month in student loan debt, now they're potentially paying $500 a month in maybe something else that's replaced that. And now you slap on the student loan debt on top of whatever it was that they replaced it with. And now their budget looks, massively different. So that's kind of what I want to focus on today. I want to focus on where we've come from, where we're at, and where we're going when it comes to student loan forgiveness. Because keeping up with this is very important. And I can't stress that enough, is that if this is something that you are hoping for, that you are becoming slightly reliant on even, you should probably be in the know of where we stand now, right? You should be in the know, because if you're left in the dark on this topic right here, the decisions you're making today, the decisions you make tomorrow could have massive financial, ramifications ramifications on your personal finances, right? So the main focus of this today is to talk about the current status as of September 2023 of the student loan forgiveness program under the Biden administration. This was a hot topic. This was a hot topic back around midterms, but it has disappeared. It is no longer being publicly discussed. So I'm going to publicly discuss it today. I want to inform you on where it currently stands. I want to give you the facts. I want you to be educated so that you can start to make decisions that are going to benefit and improve your personal financial journey. So let's start off first with a background on student loans, right? Let's start off with a background on student loans. Let's look at the fact that 43 million student loan borrowers are out there. There's 43 million student loan borrowers out there, totaling an outstanding debt of greater than $1.6 trillion. That is huge. That is huge. Average student loan balance, $30K. So the average person out there has $30,000 in student loans. And I'm here to tell you, I've worked with many clients over the years, and 30,000, I didn't do the study, but I see on average much higher than that with the clients I work with, right? Much higher than that with many of the clients I work with. Not all, right? Some have made tremendous progress on getting those paid down. But what I've seen time and time again is those numbers are increasing. And this number, this $1.6 trillion in outstanding student loan debt is is double compared to credit card debt, right? So you've got to understand that this is a big problem. Big problem. You've got to understand that student loans are tough. They're tough. And it's interesting because it's a weird phenomenon. And I don't know if it's ever been explained to you like this, but I'm here to tell you that it's a weird thing, right? Because most of let's put it this way. It's very highly encouraged for you to go to college. I like to be honest with people, so I'm just going to put this as blunt and as transparent as I can tell you. It's very highly encouraged for people to go to college. That is said from the time you were coming up through like grade school, high school, whatever. You should go to college. Your family is probably saying you should go to college. Here's the thing about it, right? Colleges love that. They love the fact that people are saying you should come do business with us, right? They are a business. They're a business. Now they're funded by governments. They're funded by dollars that are provided to them. They're funded by donations, all these things. They are a business. They are out to make money, right? They are a business. And they love the free advertisement of people saying you should go to college. And if you don't go to college, you won't have the same life as Johnny Sue over there, right? Like it's free advertisement. So what does that do, right? Any business with that much demand, what do? They increase their cost. Now, for many people out there, 43 million people out there that have borrowed money to go to college, they can't afford, if it was 50% less than it is today, they still potentially couldn't pay cash for their schooling, right? So what are they going to do? They're going to take out student loans. Now, it doesn't matter what the price of the student loan is. You are being told you need to go to college, right? So regardless of how much it takes you to get money, or how much money it takes you to go to college, you're going to go to college because that's what the world is telling you. Everyone around you in your circle is probably telling you you need to go to college. So what does the business do? The college, in this case, they just increase their cost because you can get a loan for that, right? Like you can just go get a loan for it. Federal government backs it. It's a federal backed loan. There is some private loans out there, and those I don't think I have this anywhere in my episode today, so I just wanted to take a moment to say this. Those private loan, if you took out a loan with a private company, I don't care what Biden does, he cannot wipe away your private student loan. Okay. So let's be clear on that. So if you have a private student loan, please go ahead and continue to pay your student loan as you always had, because it's not going anywhere. I do not foresee any changes happening with that. Don't hold me to it, but I just don't see that happening. It's not been any conversation thus far. I do not foresee that being added. Now, I've said that, but that's the thing about this whole student loan phenomenon is that the business, the college, has the ability to charge whatever they want. And people are still going to have the free advertisement of saying you should go to college, and they're still going to push for for you to go to college, and they're still going to push and say it's worth it and all these things. But at what point is it not, right? At what point has the cost of that education outweighed what is going to benefit you, right? There's so many alternate forms of education now that from online courses to certifications to whatever, does it actually benefit you? Is it as valuable as it once was? And I think that that's a true question that I'm hoping we get to in the very near future. Is it still worth it? Is it still worth it? Because colleges will continue to up the price because they can. They can. You're going to get a student loan because everyone around you is giving you the free advertisement to that business, and you will pay the price, right? And is it worth it? I don't know. I think we are definitely at a tipping point where it may not be worth it. But I haven't done enough research on it to say that it is or is not. So all of that is to say, this is where student loans come from. Here's the background of student loans, and this is kind of the problem, right? This is what I've just addressed as the problem. Now, let's talk about student loan forgiveness so far. So just recapping what kind of has happened. In March of 2020, student loan payments were put on pause, right? There was a few times where there was a conversation that was like, okay, let's let the payments go into effect on this day, right? Well, a few years passed and student loan repayments were extended to December 31st, 2022, right? December 31st, 2022. That's kind of where I thought personally that it was over. It was over because that was going to be the end of that year, that tax season. We were going to go into 2023 and we would definitely be paying student loans again. I was for certain that was going to be the case. I was wrong. $11.5 billion has been canceled in student loans. However, this is so far only been for specific groups like the disabled, anyone that qualified as disabled, and some there was a couple cases of defrauded students. So there was about $6 billion in discharges for around 200,000 borrowers for schools who sort of misled them in this whole student loan process. Any permanently disabled borrowers, that equated to just over 400,000 borrowers. So there's 600,000 people that have been provided some type of relief. And then anyone in a long-term income-driven repayment plan, they had been paying for 20 plus years. There was some relief provided to them. And then the huge phenomenon of the $500 million from the ITT Tech students, and what happened with that. And then there's some HBCU borrowers that were, impacted and were able to provide some relief to that. But there's been a couple little pockets of relief that's happened over the past, few years. But that's not everybody. That's not everybody. And the Biden administration ran on the fact that $10,000 for every borrower would be forgiven, relieved, whatever the word you want to use. Use the word of your choice. It's going to change. I promise you it's going to change because there's going to need to be some type of reasoning for why this hasn't happened. Okay? So, in addition to that, one more thing that's happened. So we have seen some relief. We have seen the student loan pause be extended a few different times. And then the last thing that has happened is there were a couple changes to the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. You also see the acronym PSLF. That made it more accessible for implementing like temporary rules to allow past non-qualifying repayment periods to let those count toward forgiveness. This has led to billions in discharges for public servants. Now, all of that is to say that we still don't see a broad stroke of student loan relief, student loan cancellation, student loan forgiveness, whatever you want to call it. I do find, and I just thought of this, and I think it's hilarious now to think about it. I do think it's funny to say the word forgiveness, right? Because forgiveness means you did something wrong, right? So I forgive you. Student loan forgiveness implies that you did something wrong. You got a student loan, but I forgive you for that. And I'm going to forgive your student loan that was a mistake, right? You made a mistake, and here's my forgiveness. I do think that's funny. That's kind of ironic. Anyways, I just thought of that. That was not in my notes, and I apologize, but I don't know. That's interesting to me. And maybe I'm wrong. Put it in the comment section if you think I'm wrong, if I'm misinterpreting the word. I just think it's funny. When I think of the word forgive, like I forgive you for the bad thing you did. Student loan forgiveness comes across like that to me. Like, I forgive you for the bad thing you did. Let me forgive your student loan. I'm sure I'd love to see other people's opinion on it. But it's just ironic to me. So anyways, that's where we came. That's where we've come from, right? It's a little background on where we're at with student loan forgiveness so far, what we've seen. Next up is the current status. Current status. So where are we at? From a broad debt cancellation for student loans, where are we at? Well, remember what I said. The original campaign promise was $10,000 in debt per borrower. The plan was going to forgive $10,000 in federal student loan debt for every borrower, regardless of income or any other factors out there. And that was very appealing. People liked that. People liked it a lot. Now, where do we stand right now with that? Well, as you can see on the screen here, this is from Federal Student Aid, the studentaid.gov website. Student loan debt relief is blocked, right? Courts issued orders blocking the student debt relief program. As a result, at this time, no more applications are being accepted. We are seeking to overturn these orders. Okay. That's where the federal student aid site says they are, right? That's where they say they are. Remember this. Since taking office, Biden's administration has faced tons of pressure from the Democratic side to fulfill this campaign promise. This was a campaign promise, and there's tons of pressure that has been pushed to say, you need to do this. Now, on the flip side, the Republican side has said that that is not constitutional, that you cannot wipe away everyone's student loan debt or even $10,000 of student loan debt. You can't do it, which is what led to this overturning of this debt relief that had originally went into place. So what is this? What was this debt relief that originally was going to go out? Well, Biden said that he was going to forgive up to $20,000 for Pell Grant recipients, which, you know, Pell Grant recipients are, generally speaking, this is very general, generally speaking, from there's an income restriction on who's going to get Pell Grant and who's not, right? So the people that have received Pell Grants were at the time of application in a lower income bracket. Okay, so that's kind of where they were going to forgive up to $20,000 for Pell Grant recipients, and for up to $10,000 for non-Pell Grant recipients. Okay, now in order to qualify at this point, there was going to be an individual income of under $125K, and for a household under $250K. That was just going to be to qualify. So Republicans pushed back. They said, nope. This all went to courts, and they said, yep, you can't do that. And now we have seen tons and tons of legal battles over this. So as of right now, this sums it up. Student loan debt relief is blocked, and is still blocked. To this day, it is still blocked. Now, there is a rough road ahead for what's next. We've seen it. We've seen two attempts to try to get student loan forgiveness passed. We saw the original 10K that was conversations. That's about as far as it ever went. Then we saw this one, and this one pushed, a lot farther into the realm of possibility. Like at this one, this was a huge push, and I truly thought, I was like, man, this one might go through. This might be the one. Pushback, legal battle struck this one down too. Now, this is not to say that this is over, right? This is to say, currently speaking, everything is blocked. It's on hold. Now, what we can expect is that there is a chance for something to go in. However, we have a rough road ahead if we want to look at student loan forgiveness. If you're expecting student loan forgiveness, there is a lot of roadblocks that have to get pushed through first. Now, I do want to tell you this. This is my first glimmer of hope before I talk about the rough road. First glimmer of hope is that the Biden-Harris administration launched the SAVE plan. This is the most affordable student loan repayment plan that's ever been put into place, and it will lower the payments for millions of borrowers nationwide. Okay, there are some proposed benefits out there, but I have not seen those yet validated. There's a White House document that was directly published from the White House, from the administration, talking about the SAVE plan. Please go out and look that up if that's something that interests you. I would just caution you, because none of that is validated as of yet for if those proposed benefits are actually going to be the case. Love to see more detail of that come out, of how that's going to look. I have not been able to find that yet. So comment below if you know that you've seen that. You've seen the details of the SAVE plan, and not just this like broad scale of how it's going to be. Like I've seen so put it this way, I've seen the layout of what's going to happen. I've yet to see the details of like how it's going to be executed. And that's what I'm looking for. So if you've seen it, put it in the comment section, please, of where I can find it. I'd love to see that. I'd love to find it. Just have not been able to stumble across that one yet. But the save plan is being discussed, and that's something that we could see ahead. Now, what about this rough road that I talk about? Well, there are many lawsuits out there around it, around student loan forgiveness, and I'm here to tell you that the Biden administration is going to try to, quote unquote, they've said this, fix it. But this is a super steep uphill battle. There's a lot of legal red tape that has to be cut through to get student loan forgiveness through. However, I will say this. This is sort of the rough road part. We are about to see payments resume, right? Here in October, we will see student loan payments resume. So if you had student loans, here's your wake up call that those are about to start. Those are about to start. You're about to start paying those again. Just remember that this is that this is very important for you to get into your budget and start looking at now. Spend this next month getting prepared for it, because come October you'll have those coming up due. So what I'm here to tell you in terms of the fix, Biden administration is trying to fix it. Here's what I'm cautioning you on. This is what I'm cautioning you on with the fix it. With the fix it plan for how to get this passed, here's what I caution you on. Don't buy into anything that is not passed legally yet. And I'm telling you that because we're coming up on a presidential election. We're coming up on an election where there are going to be tons and tons and tons of campaign promises that are going to happen. And I challenge you to not buy into lip service at this point. Please don't. And that's from either side of the aisle. Please don't. Because people are going to provide lip service, or people are going to say things that are going to sound good. But this was a hot topic at midterms, right? Hot topic at midterms. Put that 20,000 and 10,000 deal, Pell Grant, non-Pell Grant deal through at midterms. What happened after the midterms were over? Nothing, right? Overturned, not legally, not even legal to do. But it was just enough to get past the midterms. So I caution you to say that come presidential election time, if they are talking, anybody is talking about student loan forgiveness, I do not foresee a way, as of now, that student loans can be forgiven in broad scale. As of yet, I have not seen something that's going to point me in that direction. How are you going to base that? How are you going to base it? They've tried a couple different ways legally to do it. Have not seen, there's been zero success. So I just don't know how it's going to happen. So this close to presidential election time, I see this becoming another hot topic. Please just do your due diligence, do your research to figure out, is it true? And if it is, so be it. Yeah, roll with it. Yeah, go for it. I'm just telling you to be cautious because we've seen this song before. So be cautious. Last thing that I do want to wrap up with is this. Student loan balances have drastically gone up over the past decade. They are the number 2 source of consumer debt. Number 1 is mortgages. Number 2 source of consumer debt. Tens of millions of Americans owe over $1.6 trillion in college education loans. Many are struggling to keep up with the payments, right? Huge financial burden on families. The thing that I want to tell you is this, is that you can get out of debt. You can. I have seen it time and time again. What I want to challenge you with today, what I want to challenge you with moving forward, is to not wait on politicians to do something to improve your finances. I say this at the beginning of every episode, and I say it and I mean it. Continue to improve the one thing you can control yourself. This is your debt. And waiting on a politician to try to relieve or forgive or whatever your debt, you could be waiting a while. You could be stagnant in your current position for a while. And I know that's hard to hear. I know that's hard to hear because it's hard for me to say. But what I need to tell you to do is to take on this debt. Take it on, pay it off, and get rid of it and never look back, because there are lessons learned in paying off debt. The journey teaches you so many lessons about money that will carry with you for decades to come. It will carry with you for generations to come because your kids are going to see it. Your kids' kids are going to see it. All these people are going to see the financial habits that you've instilled in yourself by moving out of debt. Most people have a debt story in some capacity, and I don't know what yours is, but what I'm telling you is that you are strong enough, you are fierce enough to take on that challenge. And I tell you to do it. Challenge yourself and stay motivated because you can get out of debt. You can do this without a student loan forgiveness. Don't wait on a student loan forgiveness. Get started paying off your debt today. Remember that. And if you need a little extra help, reach out. Reach out. You can always head over to thefinancialmirror.org and hit book now in the middle of the screen and go ahead and schedule a free consultation with me. We'll talk through it. We'll see if my services are what's right for you. And if they are, we will put together that get out of debt plan for you so that you can be on your way to being debt free. We can do it. We can do it together, and you are strong enough to do it. I know you can. The other thing I would like to mention is if you do want to give a little extra dose of support to the stream, you can always head over to thefinancialmirror.org/shop and pick you up some awesome Financial Mirror gear. It's totally great to see people rocking the Financial Mirror gear. So pick you up some cool Financial Mirror stuff and go out there and rock the logo. It's a pretty cool logo. I have to say that. So I do appreciate everyone tuning in today. I truly appreciate it. I hope that you got something out of this. Hope you got something out of this update, and because everyone needed to hear it. If you are listening on a podcast platform of your choice, go ahead and like and subscribe to the podcast. Leave that 5-star review and a written comment. If you're on Meta or YouTube, go ahead and like, share, subscribe to the channel just to be notified of all the new episodes as they release. Hope you got something out of this. Hope you learned a little bit about student loans and how you can move on and get past those in your own life. Till next week, continue improving the one thing you can control, yourself. Peace.
Well, that wraps up today's Financial Mirror. Join us next week as we continue to work on ourselves, change our mentality, and to commit to achieving the success we always envisioned. Regardless of your platform, help us grow as a community. Please like, subscribe, and share with the people in your lives.